Hi, welcome to the podcast Ease into Clarity. I'm Dr. Divi, family doctor turned intuitive coach, and I'm here to help you. In this podcast, we will learn mental techniques, emotional techniques, and spiritual techniques to change daily problems. So maybe it's your husband, your boss, your coworker, your kids, they're driving you crazy. You can email me any of your questions and I will use all the techniques I've learned over the years and help you. Grab your hot chocolate and make sure to subscribe. We'll see you soon. Ciao. Imagine right now, if you will, that you're standing in the kitchen and you're boiling spaghetti. And then you get distracted by your kid over there, or you get distracted, by a phone call. Because I don't want you to blame anybody. Forget the kid, forget the phone call. Get distracted cutting something else. And you turn around like, oh, my spaghetti, I boiled it over. Anyone feel guilty? Thank you.
Yes.
Who felt guilty? You boiled water. Who felt guilty?
Oh, you mean it? Not if it overboiled. I would feel guilty if it overboiled.
Okay, cool. If it boiled too much, right? It's like, meh, right? Most of you guys are like, you wouldn't feel too guilty if it boiled over, even if it boiled over.
No, like if I ruin the spaghetti.
Oh, okay. But spaghetti is like 30 cents. I'm teasing you a bit here. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is that there's places in our lives where the guilt is like so obviously kind of silly. Is that fair? That's the first time I've actually said that story, is that we actually feel guilty. The logic is that, oh, I boiled over the spaghetti, the water went crazy, right? You guys are with me still? I don't feel guilty here? We're good? Okay, cool. What if every reaction of guilt could be that simple? So I'm going to go through a 5-step or 4-step process in how we do it. It's all about how we perceive ourselves. So go to close your eyes and go back to Mars and look at yourself. And I want you to see whatever it is you see the character called Marnie, called Jill, called Andrea, called Joe. See the character. And see whatever they're holding on to. See the thought behind, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done that. Now here's step 3, the most important thing. Why do you have that perception? For example, I feel guilty that I'm not taking care of my kid. What's under that? What's under that is that I'm not a good mother. Whoo, that's a good one. What's under that? I'm not a good person. Look at the underneath the guilt. What do you see there? Now the last step, are you willing in capital letters, to give that to spirit? Take a few breaths. Give that thought that you're a good or bad mother up. Give that thought that you're good or bad up. And just take a few breaths. The willingness to give it up is actually the key. Keep breathing. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. I'm going to take that into a slightly longer process in a second here. But all it takes is the willingness. Now, it says in A Course in Miracles that you may have made a mistake in time, but you've never made a mistake in eternity. Think about that for a second. In this second, you could perceive you've made a mistake that I boiled the spaghetti too much, or I slapped my kid. But in eternity, you've never made a mistake. Just be open to that for a sec. The great visual I love is imagine that life is like this time machine. And it's like a red carpet that when you're walking on, you feel guilty. I should have done that more. I should have done that. Darn, done that more. And then that red carpet stops right here. Here's the red carpet. You stop. And this is called the holy instant. And that's what we're going to spend some time teaching right now. This is the holy instant. And when you actually get into the holy instant and practice forgiveness or atonement, which I'll get into a minute here, and then you turn around, the guilt is gone. Because in the holy instant, it's God's time. You could have made a mistake in time, but in God's world, time does not exist. In this second, right now, when you practice atonement, all of that vanishes. That red carpet disappears. That thought that you've done something wrong completely disappears. So we're going to now spend some time talking about atonement and forgiveness, which is the key to releasing a guilty thought. So I want you to pick one guilty thought when we do this exercise. First, I want you to recognize that forgiveness is not, oh, Dad, what you did to me was so wrong. I'm forgiving you. That's not forgiveness in A Course in Miracles definition. A Course in Miracles definition, forgiveness is a return to who you truly are. So if the classic is, I feel guilty because I'm not home for my kid. Let's just use that one. I'm a guilty mom, guilty mom, guilty mom. God self, guilty mom, right now, in this second, in this second, in this second, in a holy instant, I can give that up. And that all it takes is the willingness to give that up, because God, Spirit, the divine, that part of you does not see that, because baby, my kid needs to have this experience over here for whatever he needs to experience. But if I guilt myself out, I'm actually not living in God's world or reality. What guilt does is not only does it hurt our bodies and make us sick, but it actually stops the divine from sending you stuff, because we're creating blockades to the energy coming in. Got it? But guilt is as easy as giving it up. The holy instant is right now. And how long does the holy instant take? It's all up to you. The willingness to give it up is the key. Got it? Holy instant can take 1 second, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, but the key is not in time, but the key is our willingness to say, I am surrendering the thought. That is all it takes. I told you the process is super easy when you get here. And I might have to do it 1,000 times. If I have thought 10,000 thoughts that says I'm a bad mom, I might have to have 1,000 moments of forgiveness. Does that make sense? I might have 1,000 moments. Cool. I'm going to share with you. For those of you guys that were in Big White and even up to a few weeks before, I was dealing with an acne patch up here. It's still there, but it's a lot less, because it was anger that I had against myself for some of my own crap. But all I did was I practiced forgiveness, and it's come down 80%. Because remember, the ego is the only thing that can make me sick. Does that make sense to your guys' brain? But it's the willingness to give it up. And if there's a resistance to surrender, it's because part of us wants to hold on to it. So if a cat just asks, if I have a resistance to surrender, all it is because there's a willingness to say, I need this. Give that up. Give up that part too. So holy instant is right now where God sits. So here you are, here's spirit, and here's you. Got it? And our willingness to give that up is all we have to do as humans. In this holy instant, giving up, there's a word that's called atonement from A Course in Miracles. Atonement means at one with me. Not at one with me, at one with God. Got it? At one with spirit in that vertical alignment. PJ wrote, so my guilt is directly connected to my need to control 100%. Because guilt is either control, fear. Yeah, you nailed it. Control and thereby be right. Cat wrote, does it mean we need to do the opposite? No. So I'll teach this. All it takes is the willing. So go back to atonement. Atonement means at one with me. God is here. Holy Spirit is here. The human is here. All it takes for PJ is I'm willing to give up control. I don't know what's on the other side, Kat. I don't need to believe the opposite yet, but just take this from me. Just take this idea that I'm in charge. Just take this idea that I'm in control. Just take it, take it, take it, take it, take it. That's all it takes. 1,000 times a day, 1,000 times a minute, 10 times a day, but there's going to be a point in your life that you don't hold it. And you'll be like, wow, life is so much better. Wow. And all I did was I practiced forgiveness every day for a few minutes. And that thought doesn't drive me crazy anymore, because it's just a thought of that separated self. And to go from separated self to the divine self, the key link is forgiveness. Got it? So I want you to choose one thought right now before I'll grab you in a sec, the hand up. I'll grab you in a sec, Praveen. But I want you to take you into some meditation. Go and close your eyes. Go back to that place in nature and look at that one thought of guilt that you've got, that you're holding on to so hot, strong. And look at the thought underneath it. Well, then I'm important, then I matter, whatever it is. And I want you to imagine your spirit guide standing right there. And I want you to ask for forgiveness. And I'm going to use the whole Ho'oponopono prayer, and it's 4 sentences. I love you, higher self. I'm sorry for ever thinking this thought. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you, higher self. I'm sorry for ever judging myself, because I know I am you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you, higher self. I am so sorry for ever thinking I was separate or that I could do something wrong. Please forgive me. Thank you. And just keep repeating it on a cycle. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And just keep doing it for a few more breaths. Now, when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And so it doesn't mean, Kat, that you need to believe the opposite. It's just the willingness to give it up. So I'm going to open up for Q&A. I want to check in before I do Q&As. How was that feeling? And I did it really short, just so you guys know. I did that very short because they told me to. How did it feel to give that up? Anyone want to share what they experienced? How was it to give that up? The judgment, the control. Anyone want to share? Or just type into chat box. I don't experience anything. Light and relieved. Exactly. That's the whole idea. It's the more willing you are to get freeing, right, Krista? Yeah. It's just giving it up. And then like I think it was Kat who said this. There's a party who's not going to want to. Yeah, but keep giving, keep giving, keep giving. And there's sometimes a sadness because what happens is you give it up and it's like, oh, great, gone. But then it's like, but then who am I? Right? Let's up to Q&A coaching, and I may or may not get to special relationships. And I'll see what PJ wrote. When I let go of control, my hand opens and immediately my guide put their hand on mine. Wow. I love that. Because now you're being guided and held, PJ. You're being led. You don't have to be in charge. And if you guys have time, I might do one more process. Riley wrote some layers of lies disappeared. Now, they want me to say one thing before I put Q&A and coaching and stuff. I might do one more process. I'll see time and everything else. Guys, if you're willing to practice this all day, life changes. If you ever study Marianne Williamson, she's a big teacher of A Course in Miracles as well. She talks about if you're actually practicing the course, you're doing forgiveness all day. Okay, that's all you're doing. Oh, let me forgive that thought. Oh, let me forgive that. Remember that. Remember that. Forget that. Forget. It's just practice. Practice. Thank you so much for joining me in this podcast, Ease into Clarity. It is such a joy, pleasure, and honor to be in your living room. What I would love is if you follow me on Instagram, DRDIVI, or go to my website, drdIVI.com, or write a review. That would be even more amazing. Thank you. If you really enjoyed this podcast, feel free to share it with friends, family. Tell them to follow me, because I think the more of us that listen to the fact that each of us can start to shift. Each of us can shift mental things, emotional things, spiritual shift, to shift our daily reality. When more and more of us do it, we get a better planet. We get more love. We get more happiness. We get more joy. So I'd love it if you followed. I'd love it if you shared this, because it would be such a joy and an honor. And again, if you have a question, guess what? I'm here for you. So send me an email, easeintoclarity@gmail.com. And as they come in, I will answer them in podcasts that are subsequent, whether it be your boss, your relationship, your husband, whatever. That's what I'm here for. Because the more of us that learn really simple mental techniques, really simple spiritual techniques, we change the physical reality we live in. Pretty soon we have more peace, more ease, more joy, trickling across the whole world. Remember, there's a spiritual solution for every problem. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.